Everything about Brazil is big. It's the fifth largest country in the world, has a population of nearly 200 million, and is Latin America's economic and industrial powerhouse. It sits firmly within the world's top 10 economies. Brazil is a world leader in the agricultural, biofuels, mining, oil and gas, manufacturing and engineering sectors. It's also among the world's biggest producers of passenger jets and space satellites, and has the best science base in the world outside the G8. Against this background, Brazil offers huge opportunities for UK companies and has immense potential as a trade and investment partner. James Walker is a big company with a global reputation for solving fluid sealing problems. From raw material to finished article, they develop, design and manufacture hundreds of thousands of different products. Gaskets, compression packings and seals of virtually every size and industry standard. From aircraft to power stations and from hospitals to oil wells, their custom-made products are in use around the world.
We've done a lot of desk research in different markets around the world, measured them in different industries that we work in, and frankly Brazil hit all the marks. It has a lot of the key growing markets that we trade in already in different parts of the world. We trade in markets such as oil and gas and metallurgical, where the costs of downtime are very high. Brazil is very strong in many of those markets. And again, just at a market level it hit the spot, let alone the size of its economy. We knew from the data that it was a big potential market for us, but no one could articulate that more than just reading the data. So in truth, someone had to go and find out just to test it. UKTI in many ways just took us by the hand, certainly in the early days. We knew what we wanted to ask, we knew how we wanted to do it, but no one had actually done it. So we needed to do the research in Brazil. They took us through the process of identifying the questions we wanted. They forced us to clarify some of our thinking, and then frankly asked the questions for us. And back came the research. It was as simple as that. All the large countries that we work in, it is unique. It has a very high dependence upon oil and gas, and yet language is a big issue. A lot of the normal business activities are very similar, are very much the same. But perhaps the biggest surprise we had was the need for local languages, for Brazilian Portuguese. The wider picture is that it's opened up a lot more opportunities than we initially thought. Yes, we knew of Brazil, yes, we knew of Argentina, but at a much smaller level. It's given us the opportunity to develop into new markets, particularly in the northern part of South America. So we're very active now in places like Venezuela, as well as Brazil and Argentina, where you would expect the larger engineering economies to be.
PCME designs, manufactures and supplies equipment to monitor the dust particles created by industrial processes, from waste incinerators to steelworks. With companies facing growing environmental legislation, their products are in high demand. They export to over 40 countries. Recognized as an innovative and market-led company, they're in the top 3 in their field, competing with companies 10 times their size.
We saw Brazil as being a land of opportunity. Many of the industries that we already work in successfully, both in environmental, legislative and in process applications, and we thought it would be a good place to focus some of our time and effort. We found a distributor on our own, but accessing the market was difficult, and it was working with UKTI on one of their British booths at a trade show in Sao Paulo that really opened the doors for us. In the past, in other countries, we've used them a lot with OMIS studies to find distribution, and we've done that very successfully in countries like Mexico and some of the other Southern American countries. It is a benefit. In this case, it was more after the fact of finding distribution, but it was very useful help. I think we were very open-minded when we initially went in. I think it was important that we actually found a good partner to work with. That has certainly helped, and we've tried to do our best to help the market like us producing documentation in Portuguese, having our instrumentation report in Portuguese. That is a big bonus. I mean, it helps us into the market, speaking the local language, both commercially and technically. When we initially went in, we had thoughts of not a limited market, but we were concentrating on metals and mineral industries. We now realise that there's much more potential in chemicals, in foodstuffs, in many other areas, and it's allowed us to try and develop how we sell and what we sell into that marketplace. We're looking at other methods of distribution in the country to get in different areas. It's a very good place to be for us at the moment. I think with Brazil being the biggest country, I mean, it's the size of Europe, getting in there gives it, we have lots of industries to work in, and once you're in an industry, be it refinery, metals, in a South American country, it's very good to use as a reference material. Also, there are a lot of companies that are based in Brazil working out in places like Argentina and Chile, and we can get initial relationships within Brazil and then take the opportunity to work out in these other countries.
Steer Davis Gleave believe that transport can change the world. They're an independent transport advisor, and for over 30 years, they've worked on transport planning solutions around the world, in the air, at sea, and on land, from advising on airline ticket pricing and planning cycleways, to developing crowd movement strategies for sports stadia.
We've had offices in the region for a dozen or so years and have been working across the region. We've offices in Colombia, in Chile and in Puerto Rico, and had started to work for international clients in Brazil and in Mexico, and that really gave us the opportunity to see the scope of opportunity in the market for transport consultancy. It's a good business culture, and there are huge opportunities. It's such a large economy with such change going on in terms of the demands on its infrastructure. I think the main thing is helping us to find contacts who are critical conduits to us reaching clients and getting new business. So it's really about identifying the individuals that we could make contact with. We had a good sense of what the scale of the opportunity was, but it's around making those personal contacts which enable us to take advantage of those opportunities. The main opportunities for us really are around the pressure that's being put on the infrastructure by the huge amount of production of grains, minerals, textiles, manufactured goods. That's putting pressure on the interurban roads as the freight's moving towards the coast, being sent to China and elsewhere. That, together with the growth in the cities, means, and also the need to raise funds through the privatisation of infrastructure, freeing up funds for schools and hospitals and other social needs, means that the scale of change that's needed in our infrastructure is really huge. Some of the key players in that will be involved across the region. So us having a key role in Brazil and an office based in Brazil will also be a good base to work in other countries in the region. I think it's very important to make good contact early with local partners who are organisations like UKTI, other organisations in their industry who can help them understand the local rules and regulations, help them move through those swiftly and get quickly to developing business and taking advantage of the opportunities which I think are there.
I think the thing is to find the right partner to work with. I think based on our experiences in other countries, a good way to do that is by doing an OMIS study. Work with the local consulate, visit a number of companies and find the one who's the best fit for you.
It's opened up a lot of new markets for us. We've opened up different businesses and different markets within Brazil, but also we've developed new markets and found new markets in countries such as Venezuela, in Argentina, and other engineering economies throughout the region.